Another NFL week in the past. Week 15. See you later. Week 16. Hello. It's time for your NFL Week 16 Power Rankings, the video where I reevaluate the entire NFL from the worst team in the NFL, number 32, to the best team in the NFL, the number 1 team in the NFL after Week 15, entering Week 16. If that sounds good to you, Gronk, spike the damn like button. Don't forget to subscribe to this NFL channel, The Bottom Line View, where I cover all 32 NFL teams all year long. And this video is where I give you my honest opinion on every NFL team in the league right now after this weekend's NFL action. Before we get started with our NFL Week 16 Power Rankings, let me know in the comment section below your takeaway from Week 15, your hot take in the NFL right now. If it's a team to make the playoffs, if it's a team to miss the playoffs, if it's a team to win the Super Bowl, if it's a guy to win MVP or some sort of award, or maybe you just want to rant about your favorite team. That's cool as well. Shout out to my guy, Kobe. Big Celtics fan, big Pats fan, big BLVer. Shout out to him. Happy birthday to Kobe. And let's get started with our Week 16 NFL Power Rankings. At number 32, we have a fresh, new number 32. That is the Los Angeles Chargers. And of course, guys, I rank these teams based on their product right now at this moment in time. And the Los Angeles Chargers got absolutely shredded and beat down by the Las Vegas Raiders. So I have to give the Chargers their due, which is they suck. They're terrible. Without Justin Herbert, this team is no good. I don't want to watch them. Their defense stinks. They can't stop the run. They can't stop the pass. Special teams isn't anything great. Offensively, Easton Stick is one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever witnessed in real life. The receiving core can't catch. I mean, who do they have? Keenan Allen was out last week. They couldn't get anything going. Eckler's washed. Their best receiver out there is Gerald Everett. I mean, are you kidding me? You kidding me? Gerald Everett. Quentin Johnston's a bust. This team sucks. Without Justin Herbert, they suck. Without Keenan Allen, they suck. Without Joey Bosa, they suck. And now they're without Brandon Staley. So all of a sudden, they're probably going to be good again because Brandon Staley is that bad. Bye, Brandon Staley. All right. At number 31, the Carolina Panthers. They move up a spot because the Carolina Panthers, they won a game. So, hey, shout out. Congratulations. Carolina won a game in the pouring rain in Carolina against a divisional foe. Not too shocking, in my opinion. As we've been saying on BLV vs. Consensus, they were going to win a game at some point. So why wouldn't it be that one? It finally happened. And yeah, they're still the same team. I mean, I want to give a shout out to their run game. I feel like Hubbard, the Canadian kid, has been playing really well the last month plus. He's been their lead back over the guy they paid all the money to, Miles Sanders. And he's been rushing for a ton of yards week in and week out, carrying the ball 20 plus times a week. And that's been the power of their offense. Bryce Young still sloppy, still not very good. Wide receiving core still sloppy, still not very good. Offensive line, Defensively, they've gotten a bit healthier. That's definitely helped. Having J.C. Horn in there, having their safeties in there, that certainly has helped. Their front has been formidable all year, but it's mostly been a disaster of a combination of offensive things. Coaching, quarterback play, offensive line play, wide receiver play. And their defense just being average has not really helped them win games thanks to their defense. So they were able to win a game against a divisional opponent. Congratulations. It doesn't really change my overall thought about the team. They're still the worst overall team if like Justin Herbert was playing, but because Easton Stick, a literal hockey stick, is playing quarterback for a team, I have to put the Panthers a little bit higher. At number 30, the New England Patriots are number 30. I thought the Patriots played pretty well for about a half in that game against Kansas City. Their defense, once again, played pretty admirably against Kansas City. They did get eaten up a bit by the screen game of the Chiefs, but other than that, I'm just nitpicking a defense that's given their all each and every week without Matt Judon, without Christian Gonzalez. Now J.C. Jackson's going to be put on the injury report list, mental health list. I'm not exactly sure what that is, but anyways. So the Patriots have been going through it in terms of injuries. Trent Brown didn't play. Kendrick Bourne's been out. They've had a lot of key injuries this year. That mixed with a lack of quarterback play with any consistency, a lot of turnovers from the quarterbacks, offensive line play that has been a roller coaster. I mean, this team really has been through it this year. And it's kind of weird because they're probably like one of the better 3-win teams I've ever seen in my life. I think they have only 3 wins. I've lost track at this point. I don't even count. But honestly, like, they're in a lot of games. They give a lot of teams a good game. Even the better teams in the league, like the Chiefs, they at least give them a fight. And that's good for Patriots fans moving forward. I don't know how much of that you credit Bill Belichick. I don't know how much of that you credit the personnel, just the defense in general. Bailey Zappe's terrible. I mean, he's awful. He's so bad he's injuring people out there. And really, the tide that turned the game was that interception he threw within their own 10-yard line that allowed the Chiefs to get a 2-possession lead. So that was really the game changer right there. Hunter Henry, shout out to him. This team, they need a lot of work. But luckily, it's mostly just on one side of the ball. I'm still on the edge of my seat to see what happens with Bill Belichick. Personally, you guys heard me in the review show. I think he should be gone simply for the fact that he gives up in games consistently. He won't go for it on 4th down and 4 when they're down 17 points. I mean, that just doesn't make sense to me. Stop punting the ball. You're losing. Try to win a game. So I have the Patriots at number 30. At number 29, the Washington Commanders. Jacoby Brissett is my headline for this team. Sam Howell has played pretty well this year. I like a lot that he offers. I think he's tough. I think he's got a good arm. I think he can scramble and run and move. Jacoby Brissett deserves to be a quarterback in this league. He is a low-end starter, a high-end backup. And I think if Jacoby Brissett was starting for the Atlanta Falcons would be in the playoffs. I think it's that simple. So you look at Jacoby Brissett, he comes into the game against the Rams, he starts lighting it up, and he gets them back in that game. Now, I think part of that is just a shakeup. Part of that is a quarterback that the defense hasn't seen. Part of that is a quarterback that's experienced, understanding what he's seeing from the Rams and picking it apart. But I think that also shows you maybe Sam Howell isn't the guy for Washington moving forward. That's an interesting question to ask. If Sam Howell has been, not really achieving anything with this offense and this team as of late, and Jacoby Brissett just comes in and starts lighting it up in the same offense with the same support staff, does that mean that Sam Howell, maybe we were a little bit wrong about the evaluation? Maybe he's only just the same level of a low-end starter? I don't know. That's an interesting question to ask. But I think the bigger question to ask is, why did teams like Atlanta not look at Jacoby Brissett? I don't really have a lot to say about Washington. Ron Rivera is going to be gone. I'm intrigued by who they'll hire. Is it Belichick? Is it Bieniemy? Who will it be? They need to fix the offensive line. They need to fix the defense. Those things can be achieved. The interesting question is, what's going to happen with Sam Howell and the quarterback position? At number 29. At number 28, the New York Jets. I went on a lengthy rant about Robert Saleh. You guys know how I feel. He's probably the biggest excuse maker in the NFL at the head coaching position. This is a guy that consistently blames the quarterback, consistently blames the offense, consistently blames whatever he can get his hands on instead of himself for why his team is losing. And the fan base takes that and runs with it. They believe that Robert Saleh, and I'm speaking for Jets fans, so you guys let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. Robert Saleh should be gone. They should not be trying to run this back. They should not be trying to bring back Zach Wilson. They should not be trying to bring back Aaron Rodgers and Robert Saleh and all this mess. If you want to keep Aaron Rodgers, which they probably have to given the contract, you got to bring in a different coach. Okay, Rodgers has influence. I understand that. That's why you signed Randall Cobb and Alan Lazard and this Packer and that Packer and this former Packer and that former Packer. But Hackett is not the answer on offense. He is a disaster. He's running in West Coast offense from 1984. Okay? And the offensive line can't block a soul. Zach Wilson constantly under duress. That was one of the most embarrassing coached performances I've ever seen all year. That coaching performance against Miami was a disaster. It was fireable. It was offensive. This Jets team can't score points. And Aaron Rodgers is not going to fix that alone. This coaching staff needs to go. They need to figure it out. So, at number 28, the Jets. At number 27, the New York Giants. The Giants at least have a little bit more on offense than the Jets. The quarterback play, I feel like, is a little better, maybe. The offensive line play is a lot better at this point. The run game is probably better at this point. And they just have more rhythm, more rhyme, more reason to what they're doing on offense, despite having less talent. So that just goes to show the coaching difference there. Brian Daboll doing a good job. Wink Martindale doing a great job. I think the defense in New York is playing hard week in, week out. And I like how they play defense. They're aggressive. They play man coverage. They blitz. They get after you. And they make you make plays. Last week, I thought the game was closer than the score. But, again, Tommy DeVito's not a starting quarterback. All right? We know this. Neither is Tyrod Taylor. So the question for the Giants will be, is Daniel Jones their guy? Should they look at someone else? What are they going to do? Because the Cowboys and the Eagles, they're going to be good teams. I know that they're both coming off losses, but in the future, they're going to be good teams. The Giants, with Washington, going to have to figure it out. So at number 27, the Giants, they play with a little bit more scheme and expertise than the Jets, even though they're less talented. So that's why I have them higher. Next, at number 26, the Titans. The Titans still playing hard, right? They played the Texans pretty tight. A lot of people thought the Titans would win that game. Will Levis gets injured. Will Levis will be out. Ryan Tannehill will be in. If anything, that might be an upgrade, maybe? I don't know. It's close, I guess. Will Levis is kind of like more raw, more talented maybe, has a stronger arm, can do more mobility-wise at this point. But Tannehill obviously probably knows the offense better, smarter quarterback, smarter decision maker, less reckless, more consistent. But Tannehill didn't look great early in the year. I will say the offensive line is still bad. I will say that Derrick Henry running for like 10 yards is not a good look against the Texans when he dominated them the whole career. I want to see Derrick Henry go somewhere else. I'd like to see Derrick Henry be a veteran addition to a really good team somewhere else. DeAndre Hopkins might have to leave as well. The defense, I don't know if there's a lot there to build upon. I mean, other than Jeff Simmons, who's currently not playing, I don't know what else there really is to build on there. So it's an interesting team where they're competitive. Mike Vrabel gives them a chance, right? They just won their Super Bowl against Miami. They show up every once in a while at home, but it feels like they are a long ways away in terms of talent and fundamental franchise players at quarterback, wide receiver, tackle, defensive end, corner. A lot of positions that you need in the NFL the Titans don't have. So at number 26, the Titans. At number 25, the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals, I thought, played really well on offense against the 49ers, about as well as they could against that good of a defense with that much of a talent disadvantage. Thought they ran the ball well, from Michael Carter to DeMarcado to James Conner. DeMarcado, I don't know how to say his name properly. He had a big run in the game. Kyler Murray made a couple plays here and there. The tight end, I keep saying it week after week, McBride is a real player. Like this guy, he's a top 10 tight end in the NFL right now. He is the go-to option for Kyler Murray right now. Kyler Murray, I will say, if I were the Cardinals, I'd be looking to potentially get a quarterback in the draft and trading Kyler. That'd probably be my stance if I was in that franchise. Because I just think his size and maybe he's lost a little bit of speed, a little bit of quickness, and that was always his fastball. So if he does not have that, you wonder his longevity. I do think he's a good quarterback. I just feel like he's not ever going to be great unless he's supported with a super cast around him. I feel like he can do some cool things. He is fun to watch, but that doesn't necessarily translate to greatness at quarterback. Marquise Brown has been silent. I don't know where he's been. He's been invisible. And the defense, again, they had no hope against the Niners. They really, they could not get a stop. It was crazy. But it was mostly the Niners, right? It's not really the Cardinals. Their pass rush is weak. Their run defense is weak. Their secondary is weak. They don't have a lot. They don't have a lot of talent. But I will say, Jonathan Gannon, he deserves credit for what he's done this year with that team, continuing to inspire them to play hard. And that's all you can ask with one of the least talented teams coming into an NFL season I can remember. At number 24, the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers are a joke right now. They are very hard to watch. They are very hard on the eyeballs. I almost want to tear them out. And credit to Becca. Credit for going to that game. I mean, especially not as a Steelers fan. I guess that's what marriage is all about. But shout out to Becca for that. And wearing the Steeler gear, which I could totally understand you want to puke after wearing that Steeler gear. But the Pittsburgh Steelers, again, TJ Watt's a baller. Minka's a baller. Like, this team has ballers. I think that the Steelers are not far off from turning this thing around. The one thing I'll say is they need to get Pickens sorted out, or they need to get rid of the guy because he is a narcissist playing wide receiver, and that's a problem in the locker room. It's a problem for the Steeler culture, and as I've said the last couple of weeks, Mike Tomlin has always been that great culture coach, but it feels like the culture is wearing thin in Pittsburgh, which makes you believe maybe it's time for a change. And that's what a lot of Steelers fans are looking for. At coach and quarterback, by the way. It's not just having Mitch Trubisky. That's not the problem. This team is not good. At number 23, the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons lost to the Carolina Panthers. Do I have to say much more than that? But the real big issue with the Atlanta Falcons is, one, they decided for whatever reason they didn't need Lamar Jackson. Two, they decided after not going after Lamar Jackson that they didn't need Jacoby Brissett and were going to run with Desmond Ridder. And three, Arthur Smith does not know how to use his best players. That's a problem. That speaks to not being a very good coach. And their defense, injured, deteriorating, just a team that doesn't look like they're going to make their way to the playoffs. And that might be a good thing because it might force change. At number 22, the Las Vegas Raiders. That was awesome. Thursday night was awesome. To watch the Raiders dominate a football game from start to finish, to watch them put up 63 on a Thursday night, I think the most points we've ever seen on a Thursday night football game. That was impressive. That was awesome. That, to me, right there, that performance, I'm signing up Antonio Pierce as the head coach of this team next year. You might not think he's schematically the best coach. You might not think he's the best hire in the world, but give him an opportunity next year with his own football team to prove himself. Clearly, the players want to play hard for him. The Raiders, yeah, their record actually doesn't look all that bad. I think they're 6-8, and that's not terrible, but they know they're not making the playoffs, right? And they're still playing like that compared to what we've seen from the Chargers, compared to what we've seen from some teams across the NFL this year. And like I've said, Max Crosby, absolute warrior. The defense, Robert Spillane, right? Diablo. These guys that just pop up and make plays. Epps, he's been missed in Philadelphia. This Raider defense is really good. They play really hard. and they play schematically sound, and they're very creative. They're fun to watch. I'm looking forward to the Raiders and Chiefs game. I think the Raiders can keep that close. Aiden O'Connell might have had his best game of his career on Thursday night, and I kind of questioned, is he a starter? I mean, he kind of looks to me like a Jacoby Brissett. He looks like a low-end starter, high-end backup type. Doesn't maybe have the mobility to be a starter in this league long-term, but he looks good. He's accurate. He's got a strong arm. He's tough in the pocket, and he's delivering the ball on time to Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, and company. So at number 22, the Raiders. At number 21, the New Orleans Saints, who actually have an opportunity for the playoffs. The Saints have just been beating up on bad teams, and I wouldn't even say beating up. I would say beating bad teams. Derek Carr still have issues with him and his leadership and his play. The offense can't seem to have rhyme or reason to where they want to go with the ball, who they want to feature. Is Taysom Hill there? Is he not there? Is Kamara the guy? Is Jamal Williams getting the ball? Olave's injured, so who steps up? It's very confusing offensively. The play calling just doesn't inspire me either. And then defensively, they look good against teams like the Giants and the Panthers, but those are two of the worst offenses in the league. I'm intrigued to see how they look against Matthew Stafford, Sean McVay, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, and company. So at number 21, the Saints, I think they'll come back down to earth this week. Saints fans at this point, Jamari, Turtle, they probably think I don't like their team, I hate their team, whatever. Not necessarily. I mean, I just don't think they're very good. There's nothing about their team that's exactly inspiring. I mean, I like some of their defensive players, but Derek Carr at this point drives me nuts. The defense, the identity of wanting to be a team, holding on to hope for the last 4 years when it never really had a chance. It's kind of weird to me. I don't know. I want Jameis, bro. At number 20, the Minnesota Vikings. The Minnesota Vikings, this is a team that I can cheer for. I can get behind. Nick Mullins is not very good, but he's fun. Nick Mullins is, a good guy. I like Nick Mullins. He's pretty shit, but I like him. The receiving core is good. TJ Hawkinson, every time he catches the ball, looks like he's in a car crash. Justin Jefferson hopefully can stay healthy the rest of the year and light it up. He played well against the Bengals. I thought Jordan Addison features, off of Justin Jefferson well. And then the run game. Chandler looked really good against the Bengals, I thought. And then defensively, Brian Flores does his thing. That was maybe the roughest performance we've seen from that defense. And I kind of saw it coming due to the weapons of the Bengals. I mean, T. Higgins was just making crazy catches. There's nothing you can really do about that. But at number 20, the Vikings certainly had a chance to win that game. They just missed out. That might hurt their playoff chances, but they still got a good chance. At number 19, the Denver Broncos. Broncos came back down to earth this past week. They got manhandled. And that was extremely, extremely disappointing for Denver. They got ran all over. They got dictated at the line of scrimmage. And the defense got exposed 100%. Without the turnovers and the big high-octane plays, they were lost. And then on the other side of the ball, they just don't have enough. Russell Wilson isn't enough. The run game isn't quite good enough. The receivers aren't quite good enough. I mean, they failed to really make a lot of plays early in this game in the passing game. They couldn't run the ball on Detroit. It's just there was a lot of issues there. So at number 19, the Denver Broncos, Sean Payton will figure this thing out. They should beat the Patriots, but they're the type of team that will struggle with New England as well. I can't see them really blowing the Patriots out necessarily the way they play. So at number 19, the Broncos. At number 18, the Chicago Bears. The Bears play really good defense. The quarterback, he is a roller coaster of events. He can make plays with his legs. He makes the odd throw with his arm, but he's far too inconsistent. The run game is a bit inconsistent. DJ Moore's really good, but the other receivers are a bit inconsistent. Everything about them offensively is frustrating. Defensively, they're good. They can stop the run really well. They get after the quarterback. I think their secondary plays extremely sticky and opportunistic. Edmonds had a pick 6 against Cleveland. They should have won that game. They were up 10 points in the fourth quarter. You should win those games in the NFL. So at number 18, the Bears, their quarterback just couldn't come through in the end, Justin Fields. They need to move on. At number 17, the Indianapolis Colts. I can't figure this team out. That is the AFC South team this year that I can't pick right. When I pick them to win, they lose. When I pick them to lose, they win. I can't quite figure it out. Gardner Minshew, I've always liked. You guys know that. He played really well against Pittsburgh. And he seems to play really well indoors. And yeah, I mean, the guy's been accurate. He's been a gamer. And he makes savvy veteran plays. And he doesn't make a lot of mistakes. The run game, Jonathan Taylor should be back. That should definitely help. I actually thought Trey Sermon looked really good. And Michael Pittman's a beast. He is dealing with some injuries. I'd like to see a little bit more out of guys like Alec Pierce down the stretch here. They're going to need it. Defensively, they need to figure out how they can do better in coverage, how they can be sticky in coverage. You know, you can look good against Trubisky, but we'll see how that looks, moving forward. The Colts, ultimately, they have a chance. I think that's due to Shane Steichen, what he's done, along with Gardner Minshew managing this team. This team has a chance to make the playoffs. So they should beat Atlanta, right? They should, but we'll see. At number 16, the Green Bay Packers. The Packers, another team that's tough to figure out. They're young. They're inconsistent because of it. Without Christian Watson and Jair Alexander, they're just not the same team. And two perimeter options on offense and defense that completely change the way they want to play offense and the way they want to play defense. And I think that's really what's killing them right now. I think that's why they lost to Tampa Bay. I think that's why they lost the week previous. I feel like Jordan Love played really well against Tampa, and they still lost. Joe Barry's the worst defensive coordinator in football. I said that on the review show. I'll continue to say that. They haven't been able to stop the run since 2020. Before that even, but whenever Joe Barry got here, 2021, the coverage is just a complete mess without Alexander out there. And they really don't use their assets up front as well as they should. Offensively, Aaron Jones certainly needs a running mate. When A.J. Dillon isn't there, I don't think he's the same guy. And there's just no standout receiving option for Jordan Love when Watson is out. So this is a team that if they can get healthy, they can still surge towards the playoffs. I believe that. They're talented enough. But Matt LaFleur needs to start making tough decisions as the leader of this franchise. Because if he doesn't, this thing's never going to change. At number 15, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, with their win over Green Bay, looking real impressive on offense. And it's all the big guns coming through. Rachaad White at running back, catching the ball, running the ball. Mike Evans being Mike Evans. Chris Godwin showing up big time. That was probably his best game all year against the Packers. Third down after third down after third down conversion. The O-line has been really solid. And Baker, the commercial maker, I nearly put him in my top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL on Bleacher Report. I mean, I'm that impressed with Baker Mayfield. He maybe is the best he's ever been in drop back pass in 2023. He's always been a play action guy. Drop back pass is thoroughly improved. And defensively, they still are too inconsistent for my liking. I think it's due to a lack of pass rush when they don't blitz. And the secondary is really hit and miss. And they're often exposed because they blitz so much. The run defense when Vita Vea is in there is really good. Vita Vea's got to stay in there. They're having issues with Devin White. If the secondary can get healthy, this team can really be a pain in the butt. I don't expect them to win a playoff game, but even if they were able to play a close game against Dallas in the first round, that would be arrow pointed up for this franchise. And, this is just a team that I like. A lot of players that are very likable. Mike Evans, Baker Mayfield, Chris Godwin, Rachaad White, Tristan Wirfs. You go down the line. Levante David, Antoine Winfield, Shaq Barrett. All these guys are extremely likable, extremely good human beings. Todd Bowles is a great guy, despite me being critical of him. Great guy, great defensive coordinator. really nice to see this team have success. I've been a fan of this team when Brady got there, and it's really just cool to see them. Hopefully they win this division. I've been rooting them on, and they've proven me wrong about my analysis from the preseason. I thought that they would kind of fall apart with age and stuff like that and injuries, but they've proven that they can withstand some stuff. So at number 15, Tampa Bay. At number 14, the Seattle Seahawks. Now, talk about likable. I mean, Drew Lock. What a performance against the Philadelphia Eagles on that final drive. And really overall, I mean, people are laughing, but like Drew Lock has played well when he's been in there, and he hasn't been too different from Geno Smith. Like, Drew Lock has been accurate. Drew Lock has been decisive. Drew Lock has been making good decisions. Drew Lock has been putting the ball where it needs to go. And Kenneth Walker, I mean, that's probably the biggest underlying storyline, I guess you would say. K9, absolute stud in that game against the Eagles. He was the engine of that offense. And DK Metcalf made some superb plays. Jackson Smith-Njigba keeps showing up in big moments for this team. And the defense, I thought the defense played phenomenal. Leonard Williams was unbelievable in that game all night long against the run. And then the secondary, guys were stepping up. Julian Love had a huge game. So Seattle, man, their defense played lights out, and give them a lot of credit for that win. Pete Carroll, shout out to him. At number 13, Jacksonville. Jacksonville is really frustrating. I can't figure out their defense. Like, I don't know when they're going to play well and when they're going to play poorly. I can't really predict it. It's really hard to know. The secondary doesn't have Tyson Campbell, and they're still like sticking to the Ravens receivers like glue. And they really played well. I felt like they got a ton of pressure. I felt like they stopped the Ravens in the passing game extremely well, but they allowed the Ravens to run all over them all night long. And Lamar was just avoiding and ducking and dodging like he does every week against Jacksonville's front. And it was really frustrating for them all night long. And on the other side of the ball, their offense is just like a roller coaster, because Trevor Lawrence as a player is a roller coaster. He's really talented, but he's also like got some huge issues like ball control. His just intelligence for seeing the position, seeing coverages, putting the ball where it needs to go consistently, quickly is a problem. And sometimes he just soars the ball over people's heads. Like, I can't figure this team out. I can't figure the offense out. Christian Kirk, since he's been gone, it's been a huge blow to them. And, they just need to find more ways to get more out of Calvin Ridley. If they're not going to find more out of Calvin Ridley, this team's not going to go anywhere. Like, they're frustrating. I don't really know where to rank them. I have them at number 13. At number 12, the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals, they're tough to rank as well because I think their offense is playing really well, but now they lose Jamar Chase. So that really kills their offense. I mean, Jamar Chase is the engine of the offense. He's the guy that whenever they need a big play, they go to him. He constantly demands double teams. They constantly throw him screen passes to make yards after catch. They motion him around to find him mismatches. T. Higgins is a stud. I mean, he's really good. And now we're going to see the huge value and the ability of T. Higgins without Jamar Chase. And he'll step up. Tyler Boyd should step up. But what I like about this team is they have not lost one sort of confidence, one iota of confidence without Joe Burrow. They're just continuing to go at it. I mean, Joe Mixon's playing great football. He looks like he's still in his prime. The O-line is playing even better. And the defense, they're making big plays. They're opportunistic. They stop you on fourth down. They get stuffs in the run game when they need to. They intercept balls when they need to. They get sacks when they need to. Trey Hendrickson, shout out to him. But, I mean, this defense also gets gashed a lot, in the pass and the run game. So, tough team to figure out, especially without Jamar Chase and DJ Reader potentially. But if they can get healthy here, they still got a chance for the playoffs. It's a big game against the Steelers. Just survive against the Steelers. They have a huge game against the Chiefs. We'll see where it goes. But at number 12, I got the Bengals. Playing great football. Shout out to Zach Taylor. Great coach right now. At number 11, the Houston Texans. Thoroughly impressive victory. It didn't matter how it came. They were able to get it with Case Keenum, without CJ Stroud, without Nico Collins. They found a way to win a game against a division rival. It was going to be tough. It was going to be feisty. And the defense stepped up. They stopped the run. They stopped Derrick Henry. And they got after the quarterback. And they caused frustration. And they limited DeAndre Hopkins. DeMeco Ryans had a phenomenal game plan. And they did their thing. Offensively, the veteran-savvy Case Keenum made enough plays in the big moments to come through with a win. That's all they could ask for. Now they set themselves up with an opportunity not only to make the playoffs as a shockingly surprising team this year. People forget how surprising this team is. They've been able to withstand injury. They've lost players to injury. They lost their quarterback. Now they're going to get him back. And now they're going to play Cleveland at home. And now this could make them the AFC South favorite. It really could. So at number 11, Houston. At number 10, entering the top 10, the Cleveland Browns. Joe mother effing Flacco. I keep telling you guys, it's January Joe, and January Joe comes through. He can throw a pick in the first. He can throw a pick in the third. It doesn't matter. He's going to come back. He's going to spin it. And that's what I love about Joe Flacco, right? This is still a defensive team. Defensive Player of the Year, Myles Garrett, very likely. This is a defensive team. Love what I'm seeing from Emerson. Love what I'm seeing from the front in general is just really, really solid across the board. They stopped the Chicago run. They forced Justin Fields to be a pocket quarterback to hold the ball. They blitzed him a lot. Loved that from Schwartz. They told you who Justin Fields is through that game plan, and that's the best defensive coordinators in the league. They show you what you are on offense. And then offensively, I mean, they just got enough rhythm with Njoku, with Cooper. Cedric Tillman stepped up. I like this team, man. I like this team a lot. They're fun to watch in terms of an old school defensive team that continues to fight through injuries, and they continue to win games. At number 9, the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles are at number 9 after a loss to Drew Lock. There's not a lot that has to be said here other than the fact that I've been telling you guys all year the A-plus performance of Philadelphia that you saw last year does not exist with this team. The run game isn't as good. Jalen Hurts isn't as good. The defense is nowhere near as good. Their pass rush isn't as dominant. Their run defense, sure, has been better this year, but still inconsistent. Their linebacker play is disgusting. Their safety play is slow. They don't have man-to-man cover players. There's a lot of issues with this team, this roster, and this coaching staff. Nick Sirianni is an arrogant a-hole, and I'm glad he's getting a piece of humble pie. At number 8, the Los Angeles Rams. Yes, sir. I would probably pick the Rams to beat the Eagles right now. Matthew Stafford is playing like a top 6 or 7 quarterback in the league. Even in the year 2023, shout out to him. He's had a ton of injuries. He's taken a ton of hits over the years. He's still slinging the rock as well as any quarterback in the league. Look at his touchdown to interception lately. He's not turning it over. That's a big thing. A lot of people won't talk about that. Stafford is first in turnover-worthy play percentage this year so far, and that is a huge proponent of their success. Quarterback making big throws and big plays without putting it in harm's way. Cooper Kupp and Nakua are unstoppable. Like, it doesn't matter the defense. They're going to make their plays. And the run game. Williams is an absolute stud. He is one of the best running backs in the game right now. And then defensively, they make enough plays. They're smart. They're a smart defense. They're not very talented, but they're smart. And I give Raheem Morris credit for that. At number 7, the Detroit Lions. I doubted them. I didn't think they had that performance in them for the rest of the year. I didn't think their defense would play that well in the first half. They proved me wrong in a big way. That was a dominant performance in a big spot against the Denver Broncos, and they showed us who the Broncos really are. So I give the Lions a ton of credit for that performance. Jared Goff bounced back in a huge way. Amon-Ra, great game. Laporta's already a top 5 tight end in my book. Jahmyr Gibbs is a top 10 running back in my book. Those are 2 home run picks. Absolutely. And then, the defense, the run defense, I think really stood out to me. I thought their run defense was really good. I thought their pass rush was a bit better than usual. I heard that Gardner Johnson is going to come back at some point, which would be big for them, I think. That would change a lot of things at safety. But Detroit, if they can continue to overpower teams and run the ball and dictate the game the way they did against Denver, they're going to beat a lot of teams. And they're going to, that makes you wonder if they play the Cowboys. I'm intrigued by that game. That's interesting. That's interesting. I might have to move them up. At number 6, the Miami Miami Dolphins. Tua Tagovailoa, Tua tripped over, Tua turned the ball over. Actually had a good game against the Jets, so give him some credit. Without Tyreek Hill, he still came through. Jalen Waddle proved his value. I mean, big time, right? If anyone was wondering, is Jalen Waddle a product of Tyreek Hill? Well, absolutely not. Jalen Waddle is his own individual, his own Pro Bowl level receiver, having a big game against the Jets. Every third down, every fourth down. Huge play down the left sideline for a touchdown. Guy's a beast, okay? And then the run game, still really good. Raheem Mostert, stud. Defense, Andrew Van Ginkel, broken nose, doesn't even matter. And with all the injuries they had on the back end, Jalen Ramsey had one of his better games. I felt like they still played great, and they had a great game plan in that game against the Jets, right? Jets have a bad offense, there's no doubt, but they consistently blitzed the play action game of the Jets, and consistently it paid off. So at number 6, the Dolphins. At number 5, the Kansas City Chiefs. Again, a kind of, not a great performance against New England. I thought that their offense found some rhythm from the short passing game and the screen game. Their run game was pretty absent, but Mahomes was all right. He made a couple plays in the game. The one thing I noticed, New England did a good job of keeping him within the pocket and forcing him to make throws there. Travis Kelce looks slow. He looks disinterested at times. He looks frustrated at times. And the biggest takeaway I have about Mahomes is his attitude. He needs to turn that around, right? If this team is going to go where they want to go, he needs to be more positive. He needs to lead. And even though his receivers stink, he's got to be willing to put that behind him and not show it visually. There's too many moments throughout a game where he looks frustrated, and I think that impacts his play and the team. The defense is good. The secondary is really good. Chris Jones is really good. Omenahu's been awesome. That's a name to really shout out. Drew Tranquill's been great. Gay has been great. So at number 5, the Chiefs, I think that, again, I say it every week, they've got enough pieces in a weak AFC to do damage, but I don't know if their offense is going to be able to get them through 3 playoff games. I think they're going to struggle in at least multiple games against good opponents. So at number 5, the Chiefs. At number 4, the Dallas Cowboys, who showed a lot of flaws against Buffalo, but we knew it was a scheduled loss here on the BLV, despite Cowboys fans telling me off in the comments saying you're an idiot, you don't know what you're talking about. I told you it was a scheduled loss. You didn't believe me. Dak Prescott's still a top 5 or 6 quarterback right now, playing out of his mind this year. CeeDee Lamb's a top 3 or 4 receiver in the league. They need to continue to get better in the run game on offense and defense, both sides of the ball. They need to be more consistent running the ball. They need to be more consistent stopping the run. And I'm not sure if that would involve getting bigger personnel on defense on the field. Maybe that's what it is, but they were overpowered by Buffalo, and that is embarrassing considering the Bills have been a soft football team over the years. They can't play their man coverage if they're going to give up some big gashing running lanes the way they did. So maybe it's as simple as, okay, mix in a little bit more cover 3, Dan Quinn. Go back to a little bit more cover 3 where we've got that extra guy in the box instead of playing so much cover 1, so much man coverage. Maybe that's a slight difference you can make. Maybe it's bigger linebackers. Maybe it's bigger defensive tackles. But they've got to find a way to get better against the run. They've got to find a better way to run the ball better, and they've got to find a better way to play better on the road. So at number 4, I have Dallas. At number 3, the Baltimore Ravens, which might be shocking because you would expect to see them at number 2. I felt like, they won against the Jags. It wasn't super impressive. I felt like their defense dominated the second half, but the first half, again, they showed some weaknesses against the run. I felt like they gave up some big plays, some chunks, and against a better, more consistent, less mistake-prone team, they may have lost that game in the first half, right? Jacksonville failed to convert for 14 points in the first half that could have put them behind the 8 ball, and the receivers really struggled to make plays and to separate against the Jags. So those are my issues. Now, once again, Lamar Jackson is playing out of his skull, MVP football. They're running the ball as well as any team. Keaton Mitchell going down is a huge loss in my opinion. Isaiah Likely continues to step up. That's a big bonus for them. Ronnie Stanley's got to stay healthy. The defense is really good against the pass, especially when they know you're going to pass. But it's kind of that balanced team on offense that might give the Ravens issues, which number 2, The Buffalo Bills has become a very balanced team. They ran the ball a ton against Dallas, and James Cook was phenomenal. We know that Josh Allen can do his thing in the passing game. He can create by himself. He can thread the needle for big plays. Stephon Diggs made enough big catches, right? Gabe Davis has got to be more involved, or you've got to figure out someone else to get on the field. Like, if he's not going to be a factor at all, get someone else out there, right? I'd like to see a little bit more Shakir in my life. I'd like to see a little bit more Dawson Knox in my life, but a little bit less Dalton Kincaid, a little bit less Gabe Davis. That's just my opinion. But the offense, they're looking super balanced and super, super tough to stop with Josh Allen playing his A game and not turning it over. That would also be nice. Defensively, I think they've just kind of figured it out, right? Sean McDermott's figured out what he wants to do with this personnel since losing Matt Milano, right? They had that cliff where they fell off the cliff. They were like the worst defense in the league for like 4 weeks. And they were really good at the beginning of the year, really bad in the middle of the year. They've gotten back to being good. And I think it's because of Sean McDermott's scheme. He's figured out, the linebackers have grown in terms of experience and play and snaps. The front, they figured out the right combination of players. And the coverage, Rasul Douglas, you can't talk enough about how much he's meant to this secondary. I also like how Taylor Rapp is playing. And the linebacker, Bernard, I think it is, in the middle, he's playing really well. Ed Oliver, Rousseau, and the guy from the Rams, Leonard Floyd. So a lot of their pieces that they picked up this offseason even playing really well, or throughout the season. So at number 2, Buffalo. And the number 1 team, without a doubt, is the San Francisco 49ers. I don't remember a season where I felt like there was clearly an identifiable number 1 team in a way since, I can't even remember, man. Maybe the 2016 Patriots. It's been a really long time since I've seen a team this good who is clearly this much better than the rest of the NFL. But this team is that good. Their offense is historically good. Brock Purdy's the MVP. According to many people, Christian McCaffrey might be the MVP according to the other people. And George Kittle, best tight end in the league, in my opinion. Great receiving core with Debo and Ayuk. And Brock Purdy, I think, he has been able to minimize the greatest weakness of this team, which is the drop back passing protection, where Purdy has been able to overcome with his escape plan. And then defensively, they got to be better against the run in moments, but that was without Armstead and Hargrave. Once they have the full personnel in there, there's really no weakness to the defense either. So it's just a dominant team, the best team in the league, my number 1 team, the 49ers. There it is, my week number 16 NFL Power Rankings after Week 15. Thank you so much for watching. Gronk, spike the like button. Don't forget to subscribe and comment your opinion below. It's Mitch. Love you all. We'll see you in the next video. Get ready for Week 16. Peace.